What's up, Walking Dead heads? Thank you for joining The Broken Dead. Today we are talking The Walking Dead, Season 11, Episode 7. So, we've got some news, teasers, and speculation for you about what's to come, so stick around. This is The Broken Dead. Alright guys, this is Dylan. Like I said, thanks for joining us today, whether you're listening or watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're at. Appreciate you tuning in, and whenever you're watching this, if you're watching live or pre-recorded, if you're watching later on, I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon. So, let me find the button so that you know when we drop a new video and when we go live. If at this point you still haven't liked the video, just hit the like button. It's not going to cost you anything. And if you know me and you're not liking my videos, I mean, you're just being ornery at this point, and you ain't got no Abdullah Oblongata, so just do it. It's fine. Checking out the website also is www.broken.pictures.com. So, as you can see, it is just me tonight. So I'm kind of waiting on a text just to be sure that the sound quality and everything is good. Since I am the guy in the chair and all the stuff is across the room, it's hard for me to do everything at once. Yeah, just shoot me a text there. Anyways, and if you're listening live, go ahead and let me know in the chat if everything's good. Appreciate that. If you've ever, hey, there's my text. Everything's good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Send my thank you text. And yeah, if you've ever watched or done any kind of live situation, especially like this, you know that there's multiple problems all the time. So speaking of last week, if you try to watch our video and you realize there was only a minute of starting soon, and you know that our video didn't upload. We did the entire episode and thought that we were recording because it's supposed to record and in backup just in case it doesn't go live or whatever, and it didn't do anything. So there was a software issue. I got it all figured out, and everything is good now. But man, it's a shame because last week was a really good episode. Loved the horror haunted house elements. If you ever seen The Boy with Lauren Cohan, there's some big callbacks there. With like in the walls and people and all that kind of stuff. And just Night of the Living Dead, the OG, just them in the house and the walkers and all that kind of stuff. And the return of Lauren Ridloff as Connie, and had a little Virgil in there, and even a mention of Michonne, which was awesome. So great episode. Quin and I both loved it. Unfortunately, he is working tonight, so it's just me, like I said. Stay healthy out there, and watch out for you and your family and all that jazz, and I wish you the best. So let's jump into our spoiler alert. If you're watching and you have not seen episode 7, Promises Broken, pause us, go watch that, come back, and then watch this. Otherwise you're going to be spoiled, because I'm sorry, that's just how we roll. We're doing spoilers. We're talking about the episode. So, stay tuned, and we're going to talk more. And if you are watching and drop something in the chat, that would be great too. That way I'd have somebody kind of bounce off of, some feedback. That'd be nice. Sitting here out here all my lonesome in the interwebs, and just tumbleweeds going by. Yep. So anyway, hit me up in the chat and let me know how it's going, or if you have any questions or comments about the episode, I'd appreciate that. Or The Walking Dead in general, that'd be great. As far as The Walking Dead universe news, we're still we're wrapping up the first of 3 parts that includes 24 episodes, and that is the final season trilogy is what they're calling it, because this is the final season of Walking Dead Prime. It looks like, so after this episode, next episode's called For Blood. After this episode, or after this next week's episode, it's really confusing. If you're on AMC and Plus, then you're getting the episodes a week early, and you've seen the finale, and we're following the TV schedule, but some people online are not. It's kind of crazy right now. So we were kind of, that's my dog scratching in his collar, if you heard that noise. But it's kind of confusing right now. AMC is kind of not doing a big favor to the people online, or even their fans or subscribers, because they're kind of sacrificing the dialogue here online for the sake of more subscribers for AMC Plus, which is kind of a punk move, to be honest with you. But it is what it is, and we're trying to honor that and not be a troll and do spoilers as best we can. But it's looking more and more like we're just going to have to join the fray and start doing the episodes when they come out on AMC Plus. And I'm sorry about the people who are watching it on their show, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. If they're still going to do this, there is some changes going on in leadership at AMC. So I don't think that necessarily this is a Walking Dead thing. I think this is an AMC leadership thing that does not like the YouTube people, and they want their own. They want the Talking Dead, and they don't want anybody else talking about it online, because if you show a promo, even a picture that's out there for promotional purposes, or a video or a teaser or anything, then they're going to shut you down. They're going to cry copyright strike, even though it is technically fair use because we're discussing it and all that jazz. It's a giant pain in the butt, and AMC is not making it easy to have the fandom support them. So hopefully all of us Walking Dead heads out here on YouTube and interwebs and all that jazz, we can band together and support each other, and really kind of turn this thing around, or at least have our voices be heard. If you know anything about, like, when it all started, there was Walker Stalker Con, and it seemed like the fandom was really behind it. And it all started with a podcast. It's kind of like a video podcast, or actually an audio podcast, and grew into this giant conference and everything. And then they kind of got some issues with payment and all. It got weird, but so maybe AMC has just got a bad taste in their mouth with all that kind of stuff. But that does not mean that everybody's like that, or that it will end up like that all the time. But anyways, you don't have a show if you don't have a fandom. And if you're going to shoot the fandom in the foot, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And that's all I got to say about that. The World Beyond has supposedly premiered yesterday. Or no, it's actually premiering right now. It says it premiered on October 2nd, but that's actually yesterday. That was a Saturday. So that was probably on AMC Plus that it premiered last week. And because there are 2 episodes out on AMC Plus for The World Beyond right now, and that show is designed to be a 2-season, one and done kind of thing. So there are some people that aren't too happy. It's basically just kind of there's just a lot of bad choices being made right now at the AMC, and even possibly the Walking Dead level, as far as trying to expand it, even though it doesn't seem like it really wants to. it's some of the things are forced, like as far as like expanding a universe. It takes a lot of work, obviously. I mean, if you follow the Marvel pattern or anything like that, you can see that it takes a lot of work, takes a lot of dedication, and other properties, Universal, DC, these other ones, Warner Brothers, who have tried to do it have failed because they always seem to put the cart before the horse, or they don't the payoff isn't there. You know what I mean? Like right now, as far as like the reasons for us who are invested in Walking Dead Prime, the reason for us to get involved in Fear or The World Beyond or any of these other 10 spin-offs that are coming, that it's too much, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and you're putting out all these different flavors that are not anywhere near the tone of what we were invested in or the world that's been established, and it's kind of confusing. And the only reason you think if you just throw a character we care about into the mix, that we're going to flock to it, and that's not necessarily true. You've got to give us a compelling reason, make us care about the new characters, and not just the one character that to follow over there. And I don't know, it's weird. And like they successfully did that with Fear, where they turned over the cast and made people care about the new characters, and that was fine because people didn't like the original characters. They weren't really invested. There was only a couple that were worth watching. But in The Walking Dead Prime, they're trying to do that right now. But the main characters we care about, we're just waiting for mentions of like last episode mentioning Michonne, and we're just like, ooh, all right, finally, somebody we care about. And we're just kind of putting up with these other ones. Not that we don't care about some of these other ones. I mean, I'd love to see Connie come back. And I love to see the Daryl episodes and even the Negan episodes and the Maggie episodes, and all these other characters are great. Yumiko and even Princess, who is somewhat new, like is fine. Like they're great characters, but I mean, we want to see Rick, we want to see Michonne, we want to see that story fulfilled, and just kind of dangling that carrot out there really isn't. It's you can't do it forever, because I mean, I know coronavirus has kind of put a stop on a lot of things as far as getting things made, but that's not really the case right now. Yet the Rick movies are still, nobody knows, or what's going to happen with Michonne, or you just can't prolong it forever. You've got to give the fandom something. Speaking of giving you something, give me just a second. I forgot to turn on a light, so now I'm not blending in with the background. So, thanks for giving me a second. All right, so that's just my take on the Walking Dead universe in general. That I just feel like it's not being done very well. I mean, not to negate that this is hard. This is hard to do, and if I was in the same position, I'd probably be screwing it up too. So that's why I'm still around. That's why I'm still watching. That's why I'm still here doing this. And I've been doing this since 2017, and it's almost 2022 now. And I mean, I love the property. I want to see it do well. And when it's good, it's really good. And when it's bad, it's really bad. But I mean, that's kind of how it is with some things, with a lot of things. But anyways, moving on. Season 11, Episode 7, title, Promises Broken. The description, Maggie and Elijah learn a new survival tactic from Negan. Eugene's group clears walkers to pay their fines at the Commonwealth, while Yumiko interviews for a classy new job. Daryl learns more about Leah and the Reapers. Gabriel encounters a man of God. All right, so for this episode, yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, it was a decent episode. I'm gonna say want to say it was a 7 or 8. It wasn't bad. It had some good stuff. And just also remember that The Walking Dead usually at the beginning of the season is a slow burn, a slow build up. So that's, and I always complain in the first half of the season where they're building stuff up and it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere, and then all of a sudden we are, and we're running, and the first half is always a snail's pace, and then we're running and everything is coming together in the second half. But now that Angela Kang is over it, it might not have the same feel, it might not have the same pace, just because she has a different take and she's a different person, a different showrunner. And that's normal for shows to go through that. So in these second half, the back 2/3, I'm curious to see how things are going to turn over and how the pace is going to pick up and where they're going to decide to go with it. If they're going to give The Walking Dead Prime a proper ending, or if they're just going to kind of use it to prop up their other spinoffs, which would really suck to see that, especially after we've put 11 years into this show, and then we get some kind of Game of Thrones half-assed shit at the end. That would suck, and I'd be pissed. Please don't do that to us. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the episode. And all right, so we open up and Maggie and company are on the run, and they're just fresh out of getting away from the house where they were in the little undercroft under the house there. And Daryl bought them some time, and they got away. And Negan is not having it. He's ready to go. He wants to go do something else. He's ready to cut his losses and go. But Maggie doesn't give up that easily, and which is one of the attributes I love about Maggie and that group, is that they don't quit, and they've got a purpose, and they go towards it, and they keep their heads up. So Maggie and Negan cut a deal that she's not going to try to kill him if he hangs around and helps, because I mean, he does make valid points, and it's always good to have a opposite opinion, even if you don't agree with it, because it helps bring perspective to the decision-making process, and that's good leadership. I don't know how I feel about the Whisperers' tactics being used. Like, I get it, and it makes sense, and I mean, they're going up against a bunch of mercenaries that they really don't have any chance of defeating straight on 1-to-1. They're going to have to do some sort of guerrilla warfare. And man, it just sucks that they're having to lean on something that, when we first saw it, it's just one of those things that every time our group encounters something that's like, oh no, they're so bad, they're the bad guys, and then by the end of it, our group is doing the same thing. So it's kind of like this progressive loss of humanity, where the whole time they're fighting to keep their humanity, and therein was the drama, because you're dealing with characters who are trying to keep their humanity, and characters who, accept the world as it is, and want to be real and just take care of things or whatever. And and of course you've got those people butting heads, but it seems like that's kind of lost. And right now everybody's pretty much on the same page about doing whatever it takes to survive or whatever. And it's pretty dark, and it's kind of boring, to be honest, because there's no drama, there's very little drama right now. All we've got is, will she or won't she kill Negan? I don't know. Well, obviously, but then some people are shipping them, and it's kind of weird. So, of course, the Commonwealth brings a whole nother element, and we'll get into that later. But right now, let's deal with Maggie and company. So Negan is teaching them how to become a whisperer, and this dude has kept his mask, and so that's an interesting point in itself, where he just has it on him, like wherever he goes, like he just has it with him. I mean, I don't know if he kept it for sentimental purposes or for practical reasons, but like this guy, it seemed like he changed. And after last season, when we saw the Here's Negan episode, where we saw his past and how far he'd come, and you know, when he's saving Judith and all these other people and stepping up and becoming a leader and seems to have changed, man, he looks Maggie right in the eye and was like, well, we'll get to that. So he's still got his mask, so there's still some I could cut and run and just disappear into the crowd element of him, yet he still hangs around, which I don't know, because this guy, he's still got that edginess to him where he's like, you know, I don't need you guys. I've got a plan B, and maybe he just, I mean, people are a resource, he says, so maybe that's why he's hanging around. But it also seems like he doesn't need anybody, and it's hard for my brain to manage this guy. Why is he even there anymore if he's so worried about being killed, and he's got to look over his shoulder the whole time? Why didn't he just duck out and go when everybody's sleeping and just disappear? I mean, in the comics, basically that's what they told him, is just, you know, hey, you don't belong here anymore, and bye, oof, he's gone. But in this one, like, I don't understand why he's still hanging around when he's got no real reason to be there. Other than this is just his new community, and looking Maggie right in the face and telling her, I should have killed all you guys. And if I had it to do over again, I would do it differently. I would have killed you guys. I mean, I get Maggie. It's like, why would you say that to me? And he says he's doing it for the sake of honesty, but like, there's no tact there, man. You got to know who you're talking to. You got to know your audience. And I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around what is his motivation? Why is he still there? Why is he there? Because he respects Maggie? Because is there something he wants from Maggie? No, not really. Is there something he wants from the community? I mean, the only thing that he could want from the community, that he stands to benefit from the community, is safety, and safety in numbers, and a community. But at this point, where it seems everybody that we're showing him a glimmer of hope, whether it be Daryl or Carol or Gabriel or anybody that has seen a different side of him, that kind of hoped, or Judith, that hoped against hope, maybe not Judith, but all these other people have kind of turned on him and taken sides with Maggie, and it's high school all over again, where it doesn't matter how much good you've done, the bad things you've done, you can't outlive them. So as just from that point of view, his motivation as an actor, as a writer, it's hard for me to think, why is he still here? I mean, if there's something I'm not seeing and you see it, then let me know. It's just something he's doing right now. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like he's got more reason to leave than he does to stay there, especially when he pulls out the Whisperer mask and he's keeping that the whole time in his back pocket. It's like, why is he even there anymore? He's got a plan B. He's got a way to just disappear and never look back. I don't know. So he basically falls back into his coaching ways and teaches Maggie and the other ones how to do the whisper thing, and he is really enjoying it. And I really appreciate the fact that Maggie was kind of disgusted by it. I felt she should have been more disgusted by it, and not, because Maggie's in this weird place right now where she's motivated to do anything to survive. She's eating spiders and all kinds of weird stuff, but she's motivated to kill these suckers. Like, she wants to see them die painfully and slowly, and so I would love to have seen that dilemma more with her, instead of just like, I'm not killing anybody I know, or I'm not gutting or cutting anybody I know. You're gonna have to find me 4 strangers, because that doesn't really speak to her motivation right there. That just kind of says that I just don't want to hurt anybody I know, and that doesn't really speak highly of her humanity. Right now, that just speaks highly, as I guess that just speaks to her her commitment to her community, which is, I mean, I don't know, but so when okay, so they're doing that, and she kind of trips up. She's having problems. The mask doesn't fit well, and haha, it was somebody else's face. There's a lot of good Negan jokes in there. But before Elijah can come in and rescue her, Negan does. And so there's got to be something, I don't know if Negan is just getting some kind of sadistic pleasure out of proving Maggie wrong and being different, which I don't know. I don't see anything in Negan's character to show why he would care that what she thinks about him, you know what I mean? So, or that he's got this urge to prove them wrong, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, Negan just doesn't give a shit. Like, why, you know what I mean? Okay, so it looks like from that point, they start gathering walkers, and they're building up their walker community. And by this time, I guess he's already taught the other guys how to do the whisperer thing, and Maggie's caught on, and he's already fixed her mask for her. Excuse me. So, yeah, they're collecting walkers, and they're headed toward the Reaper. Oh, that's right. The Gabe thing. So, she sends Gabriel off to kind of scout out the Reaper location, the HQ, to see if they're still there. And turns out they are. So, and she's like, you know, if you see any of them, just go ahead and kill them. And he's like, absolutely, because this Gabriel does not care either. But something, when he goes, he finds something that kind of disturbs him, and that is another man of the cloth, man of God. And this guy seems to have this immediacy with his relationship with God, where he is apparently speaking and hearing, you know, instantaneously from God. And whether that is just because he's a crazy person and has this weird idea, weird cultish idea of who God is, and it's all in his head or whatever, it doesn't seem to matter to Gabriel. It just seems he just kind of seems to want to have that immediacy. And again, because as the way Angela Kang's explained it, is that he, you know, he's fallen away, and he he still wears the collar, even though on multiple occasions in the past season, he is definitely not on the same page as God as far as mercy and justice and all this kind of stuff. He's hardcore revenge and vengeance and judgment, which, we all know where that falls. And so Gabriel seems to have, finally something is speaking to him, and maybe it's God speaking to him, where he, is finally hearing from God, and it's waking him up, and he is realizing how far he's fallen and how crazy it's gotten. And he decided to actually not to kill this man, I guess because he's a fellow man of the cloth, or he's just rethinking his kill him and let God sort him out type thing. So he goes back and he straight up lies to Maggie, saying he didn't see anybody, but the HQ is there. So it's an interesting little tidbit there with Gabriel, just as far as his path right now, which is crazy. So then they're going out, and then they're which is it's weird to see Gabriel wearing the Whisperer mask, because Maggie wasn't there for all that. I guess she could be turned off by it, but she's had to do what it takes to survive, I guess. But Gabriel was there during the Whisperer War and all that kind of stuff, and we hear no protest or no comment from him whatsoever about if he's okay with wearing, if he's okay with wearing somebody else's face, because that was a person, So nothing from him. So just conveniently story-wise, I guess. I don't, if he's even among them, because as far as we could tell, it looked like it was almost just, I don't remember seeing Gabriel, to be honest with you. So maybe he hung back, but it seems to be Negan, Elijah, and Maggie. And so in the middle of this, they see Elijah's sister that he's been looking for, and Maggie has promised Elijah that he is going to be able to kill whoever took his sister, and they were kind of hoping against hope, and we kind of have almost like a Sophia moment right there, where not to the same impact, obviously, but he sees her, and it's very disturbing to him, and they can't break Whisperer, break character, so she just reaches out and kind of holds his hand and steadies him, and it's a nice little moment of humanity right there. So it kind of ends right there with them leading this. They've got quite a few walkers, and they're leading him up to the Reapers HQ, and of course in the finale next season we'll probably see the Reapers kind of wrap up, and we'll see the end of them. I have not watched the final episode, even though it's out, because I wanted to stay spoiler free for that episode on this while we're talking right now. So up next, let's go ahead and let's go through the Daryl and Leah thing, because what's going on right there is it's some little backstory to just, not backstory, but some little story just to show how how Leah is kind of falling away from Pope, even though I don't really care for Leah at this point. I mean, the woman is crazy, and her whole group is crazy, and if, I don't know, Daryl has I guess on again, off again ideas about if he can save her or not, and she keeps going back and forth about defending Pope, and he's special to her and all this stuff, but he keeps doing things like putting her in a burning building, and It's like, I love you, Leah. You're my favorite. Oh, I love you too, Pope. Thank you. so, so Daryl finds the food supply, which is important to Maggie's greater story, and has a little smoke with one of the guys, and then this scout mission comes back, and they haven't found anything. They haven't found Maggie or any trace of them. And Pope throws a hissy fit. And if there was fire there, then he would have thrown him in the fire. And so, but Leah kind of takes up for them and tells Pope that, you know, yelling at him is not going to hurt, or not going to help anything, and they were just doing what she told them to. And I don't know, man. Pope just, I don't know. That scene right there was just, it was really awkward to me. And I mean, I get what's going on, but it just seemed very, very one-dimensional for Pope. And I don't know. I don't like people like that. I don't like guys like that. So I guess maybe that just, you know, kind of triggered me a little bit. But yeah, I don't. Where's my thing? I can't find it. But yeah, so he's yelling at them. He's yelling at Leah, and Daryl's just kind of sitting back, taking it in. And man, later on, Daryl kind of tries to connect with her over it, and it's like, man, I've seen guys like him before, and knowing full well that Daryl has a community, yet as far as she knows, he's out there on his own. And she's like, well, you don't understand. This guy's kept us alive and all that kind of stuff. So it's the same old story where this guy has the community fooled that they need him, and he's the one that's done it all for them. And which, I mean, I don't, yeah. Same old narcissistic bullcrap. And she starts to show some chinks in her armor. You know, and says that, you know, he has made her strong, and Daryl, of course, you know, I can't imagine anybody has made you strong. You're strong all on your own. And so, and just the back and forth with her is just like giving me whiplash, because like she's having these little moments, and then they find this dude, and then she radios Pope. And Pope's, you know, what do you want me to do? Kill him. Okay. And, so, but I mean, with guys like that, you don't just outright tell them no. And it seems like she has full intention to find this guy's family and kill him. And it seems, and that was one of the things that Daryl was asking her was that, you know, why do you guys just kill people? And you don't have to do that. You don't have to kill everybody. And it just seemed, in her mind, Pope has convinced them that that is the only way to be safe, is to kill everyone that we come in contact with, because we're all hammers and they're all nail. Everything is a nail, which I guess makes perfect sense for a mercenary, that mindset. So they find the family, and the wife is hurt really bad, just like the guy said, and apparently she has been looking for a reason to get them to go off on their own so that she can die in peace and not turn into a walker and put them in harm's way. So Leah, against Pope's wishes, tells the father to take the son and run away and not come back and all that kind of stuff. And is kind of a blessing in disguise, because the ladies, I've been praying for you. Thank you so much. And but when it comes down to it, Leah can't pull the trigger, and so Daryl does it. And then Leah is going to tell Pope that Daryl did it, so that he can kind of get gain some favor there, because yeah. I'm sorry, I I'm kind of done with the whole do all this for one guy favoritism and stuff. Just the politics of it every single time is, I don't know. So speaking of politics, so okay, I think that's it with the Daryl Leah thing. They finally got his family. Oh yeah, so Daryl's about to come clean and tell Leah everything, it seems like, but then they're interrupted by the radio and they have to go back. And which is probably, as far as timeline goes, that's probably about the time that they see Maggie's horde coming in. So Maggie is the new alpha, apparently. And so this gets into, for me, the actual more interesting part of the show, of the episode, was where they're dealing with the Commonwealth and finding out who these people are and what they're up to and all this kind of stuff. So Eugene and them are clearing the walkers and all this kind of stuff, and he has this little moment with Stephanie, and they're paying their fines, and he's like, hey, can this guy really actually help? And she's like, well, if Lance says he can do it, then he can do it. And there's still this up in the air about whether or not she is the real Stephanie, because we know the lady that got the ice cream at the truck with them, the darker skinned lady with the glasses and the darker hair, that was at the desk talking to Yumiko later in the episode, she was actually, we know that's the actress who was actually the voice on the radio. Now, if they're just, if maybe she just had a nicer radio voice and they're kind of doing it that way, or if it's, like a red herring or something like that, then we'll see. But if this is not the real Stephanie that Eugene is spending all this time in, like, it's going to get really weird really fast, because this girl seems to start liking Eugene. And then she has to turn him back over to real Stephanie. This is a weird triangle. Then we cut to Princess and Ezekiel, and they're clearing the house and everything, and Ezekiel's really struggling and has a coughing fit and stuff, and Princess is, look, you need to get some help. So they got real hospitals, and so she calls Stephanie and asks if they can actually get Ezekiel some help. And so as far as quick as Lance responded and got him help, and then the way they respond to control and lying and all this kind of stuff later on in the episode, and just the way that they're manipulating this group, the way Lance is manipulating this group, it's really curious. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I guess this is just more proof that he is laying it on thick and giving them, helping them, so that they will owe him something later on. Same thing he tells Yumiko later on. So he doesn't seem to have a problem with them lying. Ezekiel saying that, he has no health issues or anything, even though they saw him, have a coughing fit and take a nap and all that kind of stuff. But so they took him to the hospital, and he comes back later and everything's good, and he's got lollipops. And so then, of course they're feeling good about it because they just got Ezekiel some help and they've got lollipops and everything is good. So he asks him to do more, and they're fine with it. And we go, he asked them to clear a new area, and they go over there. Well, I'm sorry. At first, while they're talking, this Mercer brings this guy by, this talks about how stinky it is out there and all this kind of stuff, and they're going, this couple, and And that guy is a very, very big comic character who is going to obviously be a lot of trouble for Eugene and company later on. When they go to clear this area, him and Stephanie, quote unquote, is talking, and this kid or this guy is making out with his date, and these walkers are coming up, but Mercer and his regiment, or whoever's out there, the private security he has, for whatever reason, is giving him a little too much space, and these walkers are coming in hot. And so Eugene and Stephanie go in, they, rescue him, and, but of course he's a brat, so he just complains about, them interrupting his date. And then in the midst of all this, him and Eugene are having this back and forth, and he's ungrateful, and Eugene's letting him have it. And Eugene is actually standing up for himself. And another walker comes in out of the blue, and while they're distracted, and gets really close to this guy's date. And Stephanie gets the walker before it gets her, and it gets blood on her. And then this guy freaks the hell out about, what did you do? You got blood all over her. You ruined our date. Blah 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 blah. And there's no pleasing this guy, and there's nothing you could do right with this guy. Everything is done wrong because it's not convenient for him or whatever. And in the midst of all this, the guy is calling Stephanie a bitch, and so Eugene's had it, and he just punches him in the nose like he deserves. And it's kind of a replay with Deanna's son Spencer when they came to Alexandria, and where I think Rick punched him, but it's kind of a callback to that. And so when in the midst of all this, Mercer and them finally show up, and with the commotion or whatever, and the guy starts blaming Eugene for ruining their date and attacking him and all this stuff. And before Eugene says that's categorically untrue, and before he can defend himself, did you hit this guy? And yes, I did. And it's over. There's no his side or any of that kind of stuff. It's just this kid. They're just enabling this brat who turns out to be Pamela Milton's son, Sebastian, and they haven't named it yet, but they teased later on with Yumiko that was her son that it was quote unquote attacked. And if you don't know who this character is, spoiler alert, in the comics, he's the brat that killed Rick. And it seems like they're leading up to potentially Eugene getting this storyline, because that would be super tragic. And this is a guy you already love to hate, and who's nailing the character. But it's kind of weird to see Eugene in the Rick role with this. So Rick roll. Yeah, Eugene ends up in jail because he can't defend himself. And maybe Yumiko will stand up for him later or find out what's going on and be able to do something about it. But for whatever reason, Eugene is falling back to being timid, and Lance comes in and just basically just lays it on thick. We've done all this, we've done all that, we've done all this. And if you don't tell us where your community is, which is what they've wanted the entire time, then I can't help you. And you're just going to rot in jail, and the people you love are not going to be helped, and I'm sorry about you. It's just a classic governmental or political manipulation tactic. You know, it's like giving you all this stuff only to pull it back and use it against you. So this guy, Lance, there's something sleazy, there's something dirty about him where he seems to be kind of living in this weird used car salesman world of buying and selling and using favors to gain influence in this community right under Pamela's nose, because it seems like he's not anybody's supervisor. He's not over anybody, it seems like, anybody important, as we find out later with Yumiko. But when it comes to the Miltons, he has no sway. He has no say-so whatsoever. And that's where his influence ends. And so I don't know if he's trying to perform a coup against the Miltons, or if he's just trying to cut himself out a nice living as a politician or whatever in this world, because that's the way he operates. We'll see. And to shed more light on this, the Commonwealth government and how fascist they are and how they operate and how they manipulate and how they use people and control people and stuff like that. Under the leadership of Pamela Milton, we see Yumiko sitting in this boardroom, I guess, waiting on Pamela Milton to show up, or Lance or somebody. For whatever reason, she's waiting, and this guy, she demands to see Pamela right now, and there's some influence there with Lance, and she discovers that Lance doesn't have any real authority, and so she demands to see Pamela herself, because apparently even Yumiko, having just gotten there, because she shares this Harvard grad camaraderie with Pamela Milton, that she seems to automatically already have more pull with the Miltons and can already bypass Lance Hornsby, which is kind of interesting. It puts her in a very interesting place, because in the comics, Michonne had that storyline per se, and she spent a lot of time there before she moved into. She was a lawyer, and then she moved into a judge role. But I don't think we're going to spend years there. So they're trying to expedite this process and get her to a place of influence, is what it seems like. So we are seeing her kind of cut through the red tape, so to speak, and she gets sent to Pamela's office. And that's where she sits down with the quote-unquote real Stephanie, and which may or may not be the real Stephanie. We'll see how things work out or how things play out. If it's not the real Stephanie, there's some weird casting, I guess, or they changed things up or whatever. Just because, I don't know, maybe they liked this lady's voice better or something. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why they would change it, because she does look enough like Stephanie to change her and not have her not be Stephanie. Which is weird. Not to mention that actress's name is top billed on the intro. So there is more. There is something else going on with this actress and her role in the season. So Yumiko is there, and she's waiting to see Pamela, and she goes to sit down and finds this book on Italy, and it's just kind of like this nice little kind of reminder that that this place has a connection, and almost feels like the world before, and then out of the blue, unprovoked, and this fuels the fire with the whole fake Stephanie, or Stephanie as people are calling it. She asks about the group and not specifically Eugene, but the group and how they are doing, and so she seems to have this personal investment in the group for no particular reason at all. So they kind of fuels the fire as to the other chick not actually being Stephanie, or Eugene's Stephanie, even though it's a really, 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 really weird, like over the top concocted manipulation here, if that's not the real Stephanie. And that just shows, okay, so eventually Pamela cancels her meeting with Yumiko because her son has quote unquote been attacked. So just the verbiage there as well, like he wasn't attacked, you know what I mean? He was punched in the face because he was a jerk. He got into it with somebody. So apparently the entire place enables these children, and it's complicated. So, but anyways, the length that this community, that the Commonwealth is going to, or maybe just Lance Hornsby is going to get this information about this other community from Eugene and this group, by doting on them, and then you broke a law that you didn't know was necessarily a bad thing. Now you've got to be punished, and here's how we could make your life hell in a not so hellish way. It's kind of what you're used to, but just to show you that we could do something bad to you, and then we're going to give you more and take it away, and so there's this really elaborate manipulation going on with this government, probably because they don't know. I mean, well, because when they came through, Eugene, originally they said that there wasn't a community in the interviews, even though he'd already shared that with Stephanie and everything over the radio. But so it seems like Stephanie is kind of in on whether on purpose or not on not on purpose, kind of in on the whole manipulation. And speaking of, I almost forgot just the whole conversation with Yumiko and her brother, just how creepy that was, where he's urging her to not say anything about the fact that he was a doctor in a past life, even though she did reveal that information in the interviews, because she was saying, you know, my brother is here, he's a surgeon. So she did say that. So that might be why they know. But he doesn't want to be, because apparently there seems to be more to it, rather than it's just a busy life that he doesn't want anymore. There seems to be some commitment level that he doesn't want to give, and they straight up just take him. And she confronts Lance Hornsby about it, and he's like, "Oh, can you give me a couple hours? I can work things out, and and then we'll let him go." So it's all just this. Here's what we can do to make your life hell, but I also have power to make it go away, type thing. There's a lot of some thick manipulation going on. They don't know to what extent a threat that Alexandria might be or maybe they have the same philosophy as the Reapers, where anybody they come in contact with, they just take them down and they assimilate them, like the Borg or something like that from Star Trek, where they just go in and they bring the people in that's why they're 15,000 strong or whatever, however big they said the community was, because they just keep going and getting the people and bringing them in and taking all their resources, and then basically kidnapping them, and then they get Stockholm syndrome because it seems like the old world and seems normal again. But yeah, some serious like dictatorship, fascist stuff going on here. But I'm surprised we haven't met Pamela Milton yet. We have met Sebastian, her son, who is a handful. It was bad news. Like this guy is bad news. Next episode is called, where did it go? It's called For Blood. And the description says, the Reapers defend Meridian from an incoming herd. Pope suspects Maggie is behind the attack, while Daryl treads carefully. Alexandrians scramble to protect themselves when a violent storm leaves them vulnerable to walkers. So the little teaser came out, and it looks like things get pretty hairy back at Alexandria, and the wall falls and the walkers get in. And then, of course, we're going to see the final conflict with the Reapers, and finally see them wiped out, and then we get to move on to more Commonwealth and rebuilding of Alexandria stuff, where they're going to be able to take the resources that the Reapers stole from them and get them back and feed Alexandria and rebuild. So that'll be nice. But as of right now, Lance Hornsby has Eugene right where he wants him, where Eugene feels like he doesn't have an option. And he has to reveal the location of Alexandria, so it's just a matter of time before they descend upon Alexandria, and we'll see how good or bad that goes. But that, to me, that's the most compelling part of moving the story forward right now, because yeah, I know. Excuse me. I know that we have to deal. We're in an apocalypse, and we have to deal with. Them dealing with lack of food and all these different things, and it seems like we've seen it a dozen times in all these different ways, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense how they find the food, or if they just get lucky, or yeah, we've seen it. We've seen that. And they're all, they're trying to put new spins on it and all that kind of stuff, and I applaud them for that, because that's that's basically all they can do at this point. But the exciting point for me is to see the new community and move forward with that storyline. And the Reaper thing was just kind of but let me know how you thought the episode went. Or if you have any opinions or thoughts about The Walking Dead in general, or if you have a good reason why I should invest my time and watch the spinoffs. I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week for the finale. And the dog's making weird noises over here. Hopefully we'll see you next week for the finale about 10 o'clock on Sunday night. And then if you are into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and watching What If or anything like that, you can check us out on Thursday nights at about 9:30 Central Standard Time. And so if you like the episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so that you know when we drop a new episode, when we go live. And once again, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Peace.